Hello, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Hello, and welcome to my live stream today. I'm popping on just a little bit early. I think I scheduled this for 3 p.m. Mountain Time. And as I am looked at my day, I'm like, I realized I have actual things to do that I will probably need to start a little early today. So that's why I'm popping on early. So if you're watching me on LinkedIn, welcome. If you're watching me on YouTube, I'm on the Womanly Influence YouTube channel live, welcome. And if you are watching me here on Facebook, welcome. I am happy to be with you today. So if you don't know me, if this is the first time that you have seen me, I am Lori Bell. I am the founder of Womanly Influence. I'm a co-host of the brand new podcast, In Her Element. It's a podcast for unapologetic executive wives who are loving and living, and leading without apology. And also, I am the host and herald of this word that I want to bring forward, this conversation concerning perimenopause. It's the P word that a lot of people don't want to talk about. And if they do, you will notice that people speak about perimenopause in a way that suggests it is a curse. It is the worst thing that's ever happened to a woman. It is the beginning of the end, and it is, and I'll explain more about that. And in so many derogatory terms, and yet it's one of the most natural things that a woman, it is a gift to women, I think. And I'll explain why that is as we get into this. So last week, this is the second part of this series, and this is I'm calling this series because it's the second part, and I think there's more to come. I'll let you know when I'll be back. It may not be next week, but we'll see. So last week we were talking about this is a season of grace. In fact, this is what the series is called, a season of grace, because this is what you need in order to thrive in this miraculous transformative season. We talked about last time about the various symptoms that you all call, but I call them portals, initiations, that women will go through over a period of up to a decade of becoming herself again. So that means hot flashes, night sweats. That means brain fog. That means headaches or migraines. That means all sorts of upheaval in your life, in your emotions, in your physiology that, a lot of times we're not prepared for. And traditional remedy to all of that is, well, let's take a drug, take a medicine. You don't have to suffer through, and you don't have to suffer through. In fact, if you choose to change your perspective about it, it's not suffrage. It's not women's suffrage. This is your womanly upgrade. Womanly upgrade. This is huge for a lot of women. Okay. And if you are watching me, go ahead and leave a comment, say hey, and I will I can see it here on Streamyard. That's where I'm streaming from. And so we can all, if you put a bunch of perimenopausal women in a room, honey, you will get a bunch of opinions about what is happening. What I appreciate most about this season of grace is that this is and I've said this before, this is a very U-shaped transformation. Like, this is designed for you. So many of the things that you'll experience, another woman may not. Maybe you'll have five initiations. She might have one. You know what I mean? And so, but it's tailored and designed just for you. Why? Because there's a work that has to be done in you before you get to the next place. And so I believe that this period of transformation, retuning, resetting, literally making over, and maybe it's not even, it's a rebirth in many ways. So even more than a reset, this is a rebirth. Like, you won't recognize yourself. You are a different woman at the end of this. All right. So if you want to get a hold of the first session that we did, there's a ticker sliding across the screen. Join Vanguard. So we're talking about a season of grace. This is a reclamation, redefinition. We're reframing perimenopause for the Vanguard woman. And you're a vanguard if you're a leader. You're going first. You are making moves. You're making things happen. And if you feel like perimenopause is slowing you down and you're feeling like you're not at your best, you're feeling like, man, this is setting you back, that you're not as performative as you have been, productive. You can't get things done. You can't think through things as quick as you normally would have or would be, or like you used to, honey, this is setting you up. This is a good thing. So I want to bring forward one particular grace that you will need for this season. I've said that there are 7 graces. The one that I talked about last week was temple grace. That means honoring your body as you're going through these things. And I gave you one specific way to handle a hot flash, what that actually means. This is why I call it an initiation and a portal. The next thing I'm going to bring forward to you is evolutionary grace. Okay. When I researched this and I put it against what I was experiencing, what I was discovering inside, and what I feel was divinely revelatory to me. Evolutionary grace. Okay, so let's consider now. I consider perimenopause, and this is relatively a new concept in the world. Now, not that I made it up, but it used to be that anytime a woman entered the season, they all lumped it with menopause. And I believe that nobody that's probably because people didn't have patience to really dig in to see what was happening with women during this time. I feel like there's my Wi-Fi is a little low. Okay. I'm gonna keep going until it tells me something different. All right. So but perimenopause is different from menopause. Peri is the up to decade of time when you're making this transition. Menopause is actually when you don't have a cycle for a menstrual cycle for a year, a consistent full year, and then you're in menopause. Everything after that is called postmenopause. You're done with it. Okay, new season. And so as I was doing research, particularly on peri and then leading to menopause, and I got to something that I discovered, and the question arose, why is menopause even necessary? When you consider evolution, okay, from an evolutionary perspective, menopause does not make sense. Peri definitely doesn't make sense. Like, from an evolutionary perspective, this is the worst idea. If you ask a woman, she'd probably tell you, bad idea for menopause. Why do we have it? Because when you consider the purpose of evolution is to procreate and to maintain the lifeline, lifeblood, and generational reproduction of a particular line. You don't want a species to die, right? So you want to continue to evolve. You want to create and birth continually. Why is it that we have this period in our life when that stops? And so in my research, I discovered that there are 5,000 species of mammals. And of the 5,000, 6,000, I'm sorry. That does not make sense. Of the 5,000, 6 actually experience menopause, including humans. Okay. And so there's one particular species that I want to bring forward and just kind of parallel this for you and then tie it up so you can see why it's useful and what you're stepping into, so that if you never hear from me again, I want you to take this one word, one word, not literal like one word, but this whole entire message. I want you to take it and run with it and implant it in your own life and psyche so that you will understand this is purposeful, it is meaningful, and what it means to you specifically. Okay. So of 5,000 species of mammals, 6 of us experience menopause, including a species of whales. So people have studied the beluga and the orca, and there's one that's a toothed whale that experiences menopause. Who knew? I didn't know, had no idea. And when you're talking about this particular whale, um, scientists were studying this whale to figure out, how is it that this whale does this? And they came up with two theories that I'm going to bring forward to you today. Okay. They came up with two theories and the two hypotheses. And so the first one is something called the grandmother hypothesis. Okay. As to why mammals experience menopause. Okay. So, and I'm explaining menopause so that you can understand why perimenopause is important. All right. So the grandmother hypothesis explains that while having children is important for passing on genes, is important for creating the next generation, is important for making sure the species lives on, ensuring their survival is important too. Maybe even more than that, but they pretty much they're very important together. All right. So if you have, and I'm looking at my phone here. So if you have the reason why that menopause exists is when a parent is raising, it's for the existing children and the grandchildren. Somebody's got to take care of the children. So they call it the grandmother hypothesis. And so the existing children and grandchildren, they're going to be in a much better option to continue having the offspring if grandmother stops having babies, because she can take care of the younger ones. She can ensure their training. She can ensure they're surviving out in the wild. She can make sure that they're well taken care of. And then like when younger ones are sick or whatever, the older female whales, they go and they get food. Okay. And so that's the grandmother principle. And then the other hypothesis is the reproductive conflicts. This is the one that I was like, what? Wow. Okay. So the reproductive conflict hypothesis means that when mothers and daughters are having babies at the same time, this creates challenge for the offspring because they are competing for resources together. So if the older female gives up reproducing, it's less competition and more chance of her descendants surviving. That's huge. Okay. So let me see if I can break that down. So when things are lean, the older females take over, right? So when you have that grandmother principle, and then that reproductive hypothesis, that conflict, you don't want the conflict to happen in that same line. When mom has kids, daughter has kids, they're both competing for the same space and all of that. Oh man, my earring. I really love this earring. Let's see if I can make it work. And they're competing for resources. Here's what that means to you and why this is so important and what you can glean from this, why all of this is happening in your body, why you have to go through all of the stress and strain and challenge of perimenopause to get to menopause, is because the principle here is you are not supposed to be competing. So our society and culture, I think worldwide, glorifies youth. It's like nothing's better than youth. We use we say phrases like young at heart. Man, she looks good to be a 50-year-old, And so we say things and we act in ways that suggest that youth is the best option. That is the best state to be in because you're young, you're virile, you have energy. And then, what studies suggest is that women 50 plus, especially women who are 67 and 80s, are living the best time, the best season of their lives. They have more resources. They have more discretionary income. They're not raising children like they were when they were younger. They are more free to go and do and be and have whatever they want because they don't have the constraints of what they had as a young maiden. So now as a wise woman, they are now literally, and this is why the season is so important of Peri, the season of grace, because when you go through this, then you have something on the other side to take you through that other season, that postmenopausal season. But if you're still out here trying to reproduce and compete with someone younger, you're trying to show up like them, you're trying to do things the way that they say do, and wondering why it doesn't work, And this is the time of your life that you try out something new. You've been following the rules for 45 years. That playbook is now played. This is the season for you to try on different identities, for you to try out different strategies, and for you to work on becoming the new you. This is so fabulous. This is good news. Because see, in the season of Perry, you're supposed to be learning how to collaborate. You're supposed to learn how to join forces. You're supposed to learn how to support yourself and support others. You're supposed to lean into the growth edges, the places that scare you. I heard a quote years ago, and I can't remember who said it, but if I say it, y'all gonna know who it is the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. That means that space where you're trying to fan it away and you're trying to, push it away and medicate things away, that's actually where your answers are. And you've been out here looking for strategy. You've been looking for how do I live my best life? How do I transcend my boundaries and the areas where I feel like I know I'm great. I know I'm the best at what I'm doing. But why is it that I'm still playing a small game? It still feels little in comparison to where I feel in my heart that I should be. This is the season to try that stuff out, to release. This is the season to release the psychological barriers, those limiting beliefs. And when I say, here's the thing about limiting beliefs, if you just practice being the you that you know you are, limiting beliefs, you don't even have to overcome them. They don't even matter. They don't materialize because that belongs to a you that's old and outdated. Cool. Pause for my internet connection here. That's not even a relevant you anymore. And so for Vanguard women who are walking through the season of grace, this is the time now to practice, to go through your inner and outer fire, to kind of stand in your own heat so that you now bear the marks of a wise woman who has something. You at that age, nobody is competing at that stage of post-menopause, right? Because you know how to be collaborative. You are living deep, you've embodied your feminine. And so you understand that these seasons are spaces where you're being called to grow up, to grow in, to grow out, so that you are now learning mastery of yourself. This is a self-leading season. And the tools of perimenopause, the initiations, actually, that's a better word. The initiation of perimenopause exists to walk you through so you can go in and possess the land. So now, when you're faced with your portals and the physical things happening in your body, and you understand how to give yourself temple grace from last week, you understand you'll now need to give yourself evolutionary grace. And when you sit in contemplation about what that means for you and your life, you can blow your own mind at who you're becoming. Okay. I feel like that's all I want to say about evolutionary grace today. I want to encourage you now to play this back, make notes, consider for yourself the season that you're in, the season of grace, and how can you extend the grace even deeply. Now, if you want more of this, I'm going to encourage you and invite you to join my Vanguard community. It's actually a newsletter. So join my list. You'll get access to this in a portal that I'll set up for you. And so then when you come on into the list at womanlyinfluence.com and /join Vanguard, then you will be able to join the list, get access to this. I'm also offering sessions for coaching. And I haven't worked out all the details yet, but I feel like this is going to be for somebody. This is going to be for somebody who's ready to transcend her boundaries. This kind of coaching, and I think it's going to be just we'll see, a single session. We'll see. I want to make sure to serve you where you are by also pulling you up to where you need to be, where you know that you can excel. Okay. And so I'm going to talk more about that later, and probably definitely to my list, the Vanguards on my list. And I would love to welcome you in and see you there. So this is going to conclude today's session, Season of Grace. If you have questions, make sure to DM me, send me a question. And if you're on my list, then I will make sure to set up a Q&A session just for Vanguards, because you guys are leading from the front. You're leading the way. And I want to make sure to serve you in the highest way. All right. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you another time. Bye-bye.